Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to this edition of the GastroCast. We got Lyndon, Blue, myself, Michael Timmons here. We've been working the last 2 days on 2027 rankings. We did 2028 rankings. If you haven't seen those, subscribe to our Gasso Fast Break newsletter. You can find all that information on our social media to find those links. 2028 was fun. 2027 has been refreshing to see kids take that step. They've earned that step, and we'll get into that today, as well as some district races as we hit the final day of UIL district play today. Before we get going, G1 series, Blue, we're almost close to finalizing that thing. I know each and every day new teams and new programs want to get this experience, and I don't blame them. But at some point, we gotta we gotta start getting down to the nitty gritty of it and get ready to compete. But that's going well. We're excited for year one of that. Our next gen showcase, 135 kids. We talked internally. We're only going to take 200. So if you don't get in, we're less than 2 weeks away now. Each day we're getting 10 to 15 signups. This thing's unfortunately going to sell out. I don't want to be at the gym for 12 hours, and I'm sure players don't either. So we're going to shut it down at 200. So get in. It's going to be loaded. Our first official Gasso event for programs is King of the Court, March 20th. I understand that a lot of programs are going through the tryout phase of things. A lot of players are focused on the playoffs, but March 20th will be here, and we're excited to get y'all back on the court. And then our first, I guess, more premier event, April 3rd and 4th, Two Cities, One Gasso. That's kind of when teams will be fully ready to rock for their spring. So we're excited for that. We'll be in Duncanville and Houston. So as always, the Gasso Fast Break newsletter has a ton of information, including our rankings, and follow us on social media for our thoughts daily. So let's get into it. We've been rankings are fresh on our minds. So let's talk some 2027s, fellas. Obviously, we all have our what we see, and we don't always agree on things. So, who was your personal riser on this year's 2027 ranking? Blue, I'll start with you.
Yeah, Jake Pope from Hebron. I think that he had to face a lot of adversity this year, and I think that he rose to the occasion. He was uh, he's not wasn't just a shooter this year. I mean, he took on the reins of being a lead guard, being a passer, rebounder, defender. Like he played all phases of the game, and he had to. A little rough season there for Hebron, but still he was able to make differences in games that he could. And I think that after talking to several Ivy League schools, a couple of Southland Conference, I really expect for him to turn the corner here as he heads into the spring and make some noise. So I really wanted to be very bullish on Jake Pope, which I think I was.
Yeah, for sure. Lyndon.
Yeah, looking at this list, there's a lot of kids that just continue to move up. It seems like every time we sit down to do these rankings, Sun Jin Call, Dylan Franklin, there's a bunch of names that we could throw out there. But the one that I'm going to focus on is Damon Miles because when you look at the numbers that he's been putting up this year at Clear Lake and the kind of season that he's been having, you kind of want to go see it with your own eyes. And so did some digging, and let me tell you, the film matches the numbers with him having a record-setting season with them. It's all business. It's high-level footwork. It's knowing how to get to his spots and just shooting the ball exceptionally well, finishing at the rim. Everything that you want out of a scoring guard, this kid does, and he does it at a high level. It's going to be interesting to see when we finalize these official landing spots for these 2027s tomorrow, where he ends up.
For me, Josiah Jones of Oak Cliff Faith family, a San Antonio kid, and I'm always very bullish and critical of the San Antonio guards because I want them to be successful. So for him making that decision to not only move to Dallas, but to move to a powerhouse nationally ranked program later in the process, you have to go in there and do everything it takes to fit in and make your way. And I wanted to see that, and he's done that. He shows that he's that skilled. He's athletic enough across the nation to score the ball, and he continues to get better and better as a PG. So he took that leap, and I want to reward him through my personal rankings to know that he was able to um, come up here and make an impact on a nationally ranked team. So Josiah was my riser, my personal. Moving on to our next segment. Once we're in like the summer and then the fall and then the winter, you're always like, oh, I can't wait for rankings because I'm excited to. This guy is going to be one of those guys that I'm excited to rank because of how they played recently. Who is that guy that it was refreshing to know that like every time you watched him this season, you're like, oh man, I can't wait for rankings because that guy's gonna get a nice bump. Who was that for you, Blue?
Oh, Landon Deal from Houston Christian. I think he put the cherry on top with the SBC 4A championship. I think this is a guy though that we see that can man the middle, block shots, rebound, finish above the rim. But I think there's also more to the game. I've seen it. We've all seen it. There's this face up game that he has. There's even the ability to put it on the floor to get to spots. And I think that's what we're going to see a different player, just adding more to his the weapons he already has. And so I think going into the spring, into the summer, we're going to see a guy that could continue to even rise even more than what he already has. And I'm very excited about him just because of those reasons, the athleticism, the length, it's all there. And I think once he can piece everything together and kind of show a little bit more away from the basket is really when he's going to start taking off.
Lyndon.
Yeah, let's keep it in the SBC and go with Drew Guy, who led ESD to a championship in 3A this past weekend. I mean, let's just not make any bones about it. He was the best player on the floor over there in the 3A tournament because 6'5", the ability to shoot it the way he does, and using that length that he has to impact the game on both sides of the ball. He's taken another step in his career this season. And, for me, he was a guy that I was kind of ready to see, okay, we've all seen how it looks. Let's see where it falls in this last one. And he'll be making a move up as well in these new set of rankings.
Yeah, for me, Braden Moton of Beaumont Westbrook. Y'all knew I was bullish on him when I saw him at Conroe earlier this fall or winter, whenever it was. But just the length, the shooting, the toughness. I love to see a guard, or I love to see a bigger player. I don't like to do positions anymore because it is what it is. Everybody probably thinks they're a different position than they are. But it's fun to see somebody that's 6'8", 6'9", that can shoot it from the three, but also go bang inside. For example, yesterday I was watching that Houston and Iowa State game, and Chris Sinnat, we know how skilled he is with that talent. But last night I said he's going to make a lot of money in a stretch because he just kept getting offensive rebounds over and over again. And that just makes a prospect, especially with height, more and more interesting. And watching that Beaumont Westbrook Beaumont United game recently, seeing him bang inside like that, I already know what he can do from the perimeter and how he can score it. To see that toughness really got me even more excited for ranking. So the rankings will drop Friday.
Yep.
Okay, so be on the lookout for that. There's so many guys we were in love with in this rankings process, and it's a fun time because a lot of these kids are heading into their final summer of grassroots basketball and get a chance to do another leap now. So be on the lookout for that. But as we talk about the last night of district here, let's talk about some UIL basketball stuff with some playoff implications. Our next segment is Don't Let Them Get Hot. Who's a team that if they can sneak into the playoffs, they can make some noise? Blue, I'll start with you. Man,
this is we really have to put on our thinking caps for this one here, Michael. You really challenging us, and I love it. One spotlight here is Frisco Lone Star. I mean, you can go back to the fall, even December, where they have 4 guys playing on their current basketball roster that were football players, and they made it to state. And so when you look at they only missed 1 district game, but they had to get their legs back under them. They're sitting in 5th place. What has to happen is Wakeland has to beat the Colony tonight. Frisco Lone Star has to go to Dallas Highland Park and win on the road to force a playoff game, I believe, on Friday against the Colony. A lot of obviously a lot of moving pieces here, but when you look at this team and how scary they are, with their with Trey Wright, Brian Robinson, Justin Harper, Makai Connor. I mean, those guys are the staples. And then you add the other 2 football players in there that give them a lot of variety and a lot of just mental help with Caleb Tasby and Colin Perry. You're looking at a team that now has hit their stride. They've won 6 out of the last 8 games. Obviously, this is the most important one of the season right now. And if they can get through Highland Park and then get through a possibly a playoff game on Friday, well, then now you're looking at a team that you just don't it's hard to prepare for with the different kind of athletes, the different types of ways that they can score. So many, you just have to be aware of how talented they are and that things aren't matching right now of what you see probably on the paper and you're going, well, they're in fifth place. It's a hard district. There's no really, when you look at the guys that are in front of them, yeah, you probably would have figured that Lone Star would have been at the top of the list. But I mean, they're going into Dallas Highland Park tonight. That's a challenge within itself.
I definitely agree. That's great insight. When I'm doing these segments, I kind of just type the segment out, and then I saw what y'all were going to talk about. I was like, wow, I don't have a lot to talk about. I just made the segment, but that's very in depth stuff there. Lyndon, go for it.
Yeah, and what's even more interesting to make note of, if Frisco Lone Star can get in, their first round opponent would either be Frisco Liberty or Frisco Memorial in one of those high reward for making the playoffs. But yeah, let's talk about a team that's already clinched a playoff spot, but is just flown under the radar and kind of sent shockwaves around the state last Friday when they beat Timberview, and that's Arlington Seguin. I mean, this team is battle tested. They have experience dudes who can score in these high pressure situations with Zodrick Green and Armani Green. They've been kind of on a run of their own lately. They've won 5 in a row. They have wins over Timberview, like I mentioned, and Burleson Centennial, and with how wide open, especially Division II is going to be in 5A Region 1. This is a team that it would not surprise me at all to see them make a run and make some serious noise in the playoffs with how the path shapes up for them.
For me, the team I'm going to talk about is 25-8. So we're talking about. Wait a second, I thought we were talking about sneaking into the playoffs. And unfortunately, District 24 6A has been loaded this year. And the team I'm talking about is Clearbrook, 25-8, 7-6, with a huge game tonight where, correct me if I'm wrong, Lyndon, they played Deer Park, who's 6-7 in district. Clearbrook wins therein. Deer Park at 6-7 wins, then something's going to happen. I don't know. Play-in game. But you're looking at a team where I've been bullish on Clearbrook all year long. Like, there's been times, Lyndon, where I'm like, is Clearbrook ranked? Their guards, Jace Walker, Abdiel Jimenez, and Christian Brown. I mean, Clearbrook can walk into a game and there's nobody on that team that feels like, oh, I got to lead it and do it by myself tonight, because they're so balanced. And they're not used to losing. I mean, 6 of their 8 losses are in district play against a district that you have Clear Springs, Dickinson, Clear Lake, Deer Park, and Clear Falls is right there. Like, 6th place is 5-8. Like, it's a district that with guards going into playoffs, I feel like Clearbrook, I've been bullish on them all year, and I still am. If they can get in, then I think they can make some noise. And while we're sitting here, if Deer Park gets in, these are the fun thing about these matchups. If it works in your favor and you sneak in, a lot of times those teams that sneak in end up making runs as well, because it's like, well, we're here now. Like, we're playing with house money. Well, it took a lot for us to get in. Let's just see what happens. We're happy to be there. So big game tonight in that district, for, let's just say, all the marbles of what it takes to get to the playoffs. Moving on to our next segment, who's hot? Who's a team streaking right now headed into the playoffs? Blue?
Denton, the Denton Broncos, man. They've won 17 straight. Michael Thomas, I mean, you can just hear it in his voice. He's trying to stay very calm and really focus on each game. They have a big game tonight against Richland. They win, they go D2, and we know that the D2 route sometimes can be a little bit easier to navigate through. They will have to face a Summit or a Polidoro along the way, but this team is built a little bit differently than we have seen Michael Thomas's teams in the past. I mean, they're talking to Michael Thomas. What does he tell me? He said that control the things that we can control, and that's effort, playing defense, rebounding, getting on the floor for loose ball. So he's taken a totally different approach and not so much focus on the offensive end. He knows that sometimes they're going to have an off night shooting. They're going to have an off night, maybe just taking some hits and contact in the lane in order to score. But he says that they are controlling what they can, and that's the defensive effort. And so when you look at Ethan Sheets and Ethan Ashew, they're holding. They played Birdville twice in district. They beat Birdville twice. Like, those are the kind of things that matter as you kind of looking at teams that have the hot hand. Who are they beating? What are they doing down the stretch? And right now they're giving a lot of effort. They're giving a lot of just a lot of everything on the court, and they're leaving it out there. And I just think that this is just a different team, especially with Lojak Lolowa, who's averaging 7 assists a game, rebounding at about 5 or 6. He's playing defense, and so that's really their calling card right now, and that's what he wants to continue to stress to his team. So you got to be aware about how good that they are and that they're peaking at the right time.
Absolutely, that's a good one. Lyndon.
Yeah, let's talk about Bernie Champion. I mean, it seems like every week we talk about 26-5A, especially when Tim's on here, because that district has had the most drama, the most implication games, and all that stuff. But all of a sudden, Bernie Champion reels off 8 wins in a row. They beat San Antonio Vets last Friday to force basically a split with them and New Braunfels to see. I don't know if they'll play it off or have a coin flip to see who goes 1 and who goes 2 into the D1 bracket. But this team has just been shooting the lights out. Gavin Peck's been playing so well. Travis Clark making a big impression as another 2028 that should be on radars from this team. And it's just really impressive to see. When you're playing Wagner and Tivy and Alamo Heights and Vets Memorial and New Braunfels every night, you win 8 of those games in a row. That points me in the direction of thinking this is a team that's built to win, 4, 5, 6 games in a row, get really deep into the playoffs.
No, absolutely. It was one. I kept seeing Bernie Champion. Gavin Peck does a great job of promoting himself on social media. And if you're just on the outside looking and you see, oh, they won another one, then they won another one. Then you look, Lennon, like you said, it's 8 in a row against heavy hitters in that district. So yeah, big time for Bernie Champion. The team I'm going to talk about hasn't lost in 2 months. I'm going back to, I think, December 9th, and that's Houston Heights. And the cool thing about this is that when you're relevant through this season and you're playing good basketball and you're led by younger players, sophomores, they grow up right before your eyes and sometimes grow up quicker. And EJ Beard, I think, has turned into a superstar in the last 2 or 3 months, even more than he was going into the season. Eric Egwigbara, Jamison Bailey, they have 3 sophomores that are playing like seniors and veterans right now. And I'm so excited to see how this team navigates through, just because I'm bullish on EJ Beard. I was when we talked about our 28 rankings. But when you haven't lost in 2 months, that's insane to think about. It does feel like December 9th was just a couple weeks ago, but no, we're past Valentine's Day. So Houston Heights has a nice run, and they're one of the hotter teams in the state of Texas. That'll do it for today's episode. Huge night of basketball. If y'all are watching this GassoCast, comment below on other huge playoff implication games across all levels and all districts. It's a huge night, and congratulations, especially with those senior nights as well, those final whole games the last couple of weeks and tonight, and just cherish every moment. And we're excited to see what the madness comes next week when we start playoffs. So until next week, sign up for the Gasso Next Gen showcases. Get with Blue if you're trying to get into our Gassos. We're almost here for grassroots season, but not before the fireworks of playoff basketball. And we're excited to cover that. So until next time, we'll see you then.